Welcome to a 2024 updated tier list for pistols. This is my oldest, I think, weapon guide from like 2 years ago, or like tier list that I haven't updated. So we're just gonna get into it. All right. Pistols are not the most exciting class in the game. Pistols and snipers are kind of the bottom two classes. Stream's getting a little excited. Yeah, I do record these live on stream, so Twitch link down below if you guys ever want to be a part of the fun. I actually do community tier lists sometimes. That's not what I'm doing today. This is just my list, but if you ever want to be a part of the vote, Twitch link down below. So pistols are definitely in the bottom ring, but there are actually some really fun ones. The Dirge song's insanely strong. I don't think I knew that back then. I have my old list up, and I'm gonna hide that in a different tab, and we'll talk about how I compared to my previous list. You know, how have I changed in the last 2 years? Dirge song for sure has definitely shown some merit. Same with the Coco 45, Bald Eagle. There's some really good pistols in here, and a new one with the Primal pistol. So yeah, let's just start. Now, the Bald Eagle is a weapon where you can switch off back and forth. It's really good accuracy, really good damage. It's got a bit of a damage drop off, but if you do double deagle, super fun. I actually have a video on my computer that I haven't uploaded as of recording this or edited yet, but it exists. It's a fun weapon. You can have a lot of fun with it. I'm not biased enough to say it's S tier, but we are going to be ranking these weapons based on pistols, okay? In the scope of the game, it's probably a C tier weapon. I mean, there are some insanely good weapons in this game. As for pistols go, it might be A tier, it might be S tier. In my opinion, S tier weapons, this goes for everything in the game, S tier weapons have really good single target damage and really good crowd clearing. In my opinion, I take S tier very seriously. An S tier weapon can do everything. And the Deagle can, if you've got aimbot accuracy, and a recent bug was fixed where headshot eliminations cause an explosion, actually does pretty good damage nowadays. It was bugged to do basically nothing for a while. If you have that perk and your accuracy is insane, you might have S tier performance, but nobody's perfect. I think A tier is perfectly fine. Basilisk is a really good single target weapon. It's okay. I haven't used this weapon in a long time. This could easily be one of those placements that adjusts based on how I refamiliarize myself with weapons. That's why updating these tier lists every single year. I missed 2023 for this list, but almost every year is really good because revisiting these weapons and getting new updated opinions changes a lot. I feel like I remember it being kind of an A tier weapon. Actually really good single target damage. That's what you're going to hear a lot with pistols, but pretty not great, crowd clearing. So yeah. I don't think this is a scavenger weapon, but the Bolt actually has better pierce than you might think. It can cleanly cut through a bunch of enemies at once and afflict them with affliction. So I'll put that in A tier. It's honestly more useful than you might think. If you ever want to have a fun time, use the Bolt. Now, the Coco 45. I gotta put something in S tier, and I think we're gonna start with the Coco 45 because it can pierce targets with great perks. It can have triple crit damage. That actually spawned my Fun 160s playlist where I've got over 140 different loadouts in that series now. I found out that weapon could have triple crit damage. You put Beetle Jess in the lead with a totally rockin' out build. You can crit a ton, and you're doing 705% crit damage at the same time. Really fun build. If you set this weapon up properly, it can ping back and forth off the walls. I soloed a mini boss. I don't think a pistol that can solo a mini boss should be anywhere but S tier, but maybe the Deagle could do that as well. So that can't be the only criteria, but I'm saying it takes a lot of setup, and for a pistol, it's S tier. Now, the Dirge Song is going to be the strongest weapon on the entire list. I have shown this a lot on my channel. It's, wait, you're saying Bolt is the legendary Junkyard Pal? I don't think that's true. Somebody in my chat is correcting me, I think, or they might be making a joke, but I'm pretty sure those are completely different weapons. But seeing as I don't look at pistols that often, I kind of need to familiarize myself. Oh, you are totally correct. Thank you for letting me know. Wow. This is what I mean, you guys. Some of these pistols are fun. The Bolt is fun, but like, you don't look at them enough, and then you just sort of forget what they are. And now that that's been mentioned, I feel like the Junkyard Pal should be in the lower tier, if it's even on this list. It's a weapon that Epic has put in people's inventories to punish them before. Like, they replace every weapon in their inventory with the Junkyard Pal. Seems like the lower rarities are not represented on this list, so we'll be ignoring that for now, but good to know. But yeah, Dirge Song is, with the right loadout, able to dish out millions of damage very easily. I've shown this a bunch on my channel. You should definitely check out like Dirge Song boom build or Blackout boom build. You'll find those videos easily. This is an insanely strong weapon. Like, this is S tier across the game, not just pistols. Dragon's Breath, on the other hand, I have had a lot of commenters tell me this is a very, very good weapon. I don't know about that. I've heard the exact opposite from just as many other people. I'm going to put it in C tier. We're going to leave this one in the air. I'm going to tell you honestly, I have not brushed up on this weapon recently. So you could see a video on that sometime in the future, subscribe for more. The Duelist is a weapon that is a 6-shooter. This is not the Jack's Revenge, by the way. That's over here. They look very similar. Couldn't be more different, though. The Duelist is a pirate pistol, shoots 6 rounds. Pretty good single target damage. I feel like it's pretty much there with the Basilisk. Pretty good single target. It doesn't do a ton of crowds. I think it has headshot eliminations, cause an explosion, which is helpful. In fact, if we go to the schematics, find a pistol, which shouldn't be hard because I supercharged my Dirge Song. Sort by subtype. We can find it pretty conveniently. Oh, the Dirge Song's an SMG. Oh, I'm so glad I caught that. Oh my God. You can go and delete your comment now. The Dirge Song used to be a pistol, and Archer made this list. You guys can go politely tell Archer, no, don't bug him. This is an old mistake. The Dirge Song used to be a pistol. It was classed as a pistol long ago. Nowadays, it's an SMG. I'm now seeing Twitch chat was telling me, well, screw it. It's still very good. You should still use it. It's definitely in the wrong list, but okay, back to my point. Let me find an actual pistol here that we can use to find. I'll pause and come back. All right, Duelist. So headshot eliminations can cause an explosion. That's really useful on pistols because it does high single target damage. Aiming for the head makes you breathe weird, and then you can just explode everything around it. And then the headshot eliminations boost crit chance with sword. That's meant to be paired with the Corsair. And Affliction is actually a really, really strong 6 perk. So yeah, securely in the A position. Falcon, again, I have used this weapon. It seems like a worse Bald Eagle, but I've really only been stuck with it in Ventures. I could be totally wrong. It's so similar to the Bald Eagle, I don't actually know how it compares. Again, I just haven't brushed up on this weapon, so I'm going to put it in B tier because I've used it a little bit in Ventures. It's okay. It's okay. Freedom's Herald is an exploding weapon. It's the America New Year's firework weapon. It's fun, a little bit of group damage, maybe A tier. Again, I need to brush up on pistols because most of the time pistols aren't worth brushing up on, but Ghost Pistol shoots a slow projectile that goes through walls, pierces enemies, does a lot of damage. It's locked to energy. It's a little hard to use, but it's an A tier weapon. I'd put it in the high A tier. It's one of the better pistols in the game, but it is rather limited in that slow projectile speed, so it's tough to control. Ginger Blaster, easily S tier damage. Oh, wait, it's locked to physical, so it's doing half towards elemental. Oh, and it doesn't have any crowd clearing. Oh, boy. Yeah, I think B tier is fair, because this thing can rock a Smasher or a Mist monster. Physical, this thing hits like a truck. Gonna have triple crit damage. I had a lot of fun with that in my video, but if they are elemental, it's useless. If there's more than one of them, or a crowd of them, it's useless. It is unfortunate. So I'm recognizing the potential of this weapon, but putting it where it belongs. It's 6 perk if you're curious, drops the gumdrops, they heal you. It's a fun gimmick, but it's nothing that amazing. Now, what is is the Haywire Storm. I have not featured this in a video. I have not used it seriously, but it is a fast-firing, semi-auto pistol that is actually really good. I don't know if I'm confident enough to put this in S tier, for example. I really need to actually run this weapon, but I did run this with a real build. Somebody redeemed it on stream one time, and damn, it was actually pretty good. I surely didn't use it with Slowed and Snare, did I? Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, Affliction on that goes a long way, as it always does, because I've said this in a million videos, and I'll say it in a million more. If you use a pistol like this with a Affliction, you just tap one enemy, one at a time, and every single one of them will chip away, and you can basically kill basic enemies with one shot each. So, yeah, playstyle, my personal playstyle puts this in the high A tier. I'm not sure about S tier, but it's got potential. Seriously, it's a decent pistol. You should give it a shot. Hot Mix is a weapon that should be an SMG, in my opinion. It shoots shoots fast, it pierces enemies, it shoots 2 bullets at a time, it has a couple of different elemental options, and it has the 6 perk where they can dance, which makes them stop attacking you. It's actually a really, really powerful combo, and since we're talking about pistols here, I'm going to put it in S tier. I think the crowd clearing and single target is sufficient enough to put it in the S tier position, and of course, making enemies dance basically makes you invincible because they stop shooting you. I think the Jackal, is that what that's called, or is it the Vendetta? Man, these are pistols that I have never I was aware of them when I was a brand new player, and oh my goodness, do I not even have a copy? Yeah, the Jackal. So I assume that's similar to the Haywire Storm. I just, I can't know. I'm going to put it in low A tier just to be safe, But I'll admit, I have not brushed up on this weapon in a while, and if you think I should give it a shot, comment down below. I am perfectly willing to admit when I'm unfamiliar with a weapon, because you guys can vouch for it, and if I'm missing something here, that's how I find out about weapons like the Ranger. In the AR tier list, the Ranger was like C tier. In my brain, it's high A tier, low S tier. I totally change my opinions, and that's why I update these videos. Jack's Revenge is crazy fun. I want to put it in S tier so freaking bad, but I'm sticking to my rule. It is high A tier, big single target damage. It can, if you set it up properly with like Calamity in the lead. Here, you know what? Let's do this together because I think it's worth showing off. All right, so here's the setup. I have a couple of people that join me off the stream, high power level players. I have Calamity in the lead for 60% damage. Then I've got Ranger Deadeye in support for 17% damage. And I gave it 2 headshot perks and a damage perk. Look at this. At first glance, you might think that my headshot bonus is terrible. I'm only doing 27,000 more. But what's actually happening is this is 1,321,000. It is actually clipping off that 7th digit because it doesn't display properly. So with headshot, physical, double damage, and the loadout I showed, plus just a couple of high-level teammates, I am consistently doing 1.3 million damage without even a crit. That's why I want to put that in S tier, because it's a really, really hard hitting weapon. You can sit down power level 250 mist monsters in one shot, which is really good, but you are shooting one shot at a time and you're reloading every time, and it's not quite S tier, but high A tier for sure. You can have a ton of fun with that. And a commenter said the Jackal was bad. I'm gonna believe them. I'm gonna put in B tier. Again, up in the air on that one. Same thing with the Judge. I'm just gonna skip over quite a few weapons that are fast firing, single target, that aren't super great. These are all very similar weapons. They're a little slow firing, semi-auto, not really bringing anything interesting to the table. What else can I just add to that list real quick? Space Invader. It bounces around a lot, which makes it interesting, but the strength of the weapon does not really make up for it. So low B tier, I guess. I'm not really ranking this too seriously. I guess it has Pierce, maybe high B tier. It's not a very strong weapon, unfortunately. Mouthpiece is a weapon from the Art Deco set. It has that extra 44% damage to certain elements. That is really useful. You can do a lot of extra damage, but it's a lot like the Ginger Blaster. It does really good damage against the right target, and that's it. No crowd clearing, no usefulness against normal targets. It loses a lot of damage, and that's kind of the problem. Piston Spitter is like these weapons, but really bad. I'll put it in D tier. It's not F. I've used it in Ventures. If you point it at an enemy, it does kill them. It works, technically. On that note, I'm not sure there's really anything down here that can be F tier. Even like the Vintertech Blaster. You know what? That'll be F tier. That's a scoped weapon that even with like triple crit damage or double whatever I tried really hard to make this weapon super strong. I was aiming for the head. I was hitting my shots, and it was not killing big targets. Like, it was not good at all. I tried. The Judge, or the Cyclops, I mean, the Cyclops from the spy weapon set actually did kill targets. I'd put that in high B tier, I guess. You need the scope, so it's kind of like a little sniper pistol that's not as strong as a sniper. I could be wrong about that. It's been a lot of years since I looked at that weapon, and it makes me excited recording these tier lists because I'm forced to discuss weapons I haven't thought about in a long time, and it's fun. It's fun. Yeah, it's something I wanna consider looking at in the future. And another spy weapon is the Turncoat. That I actually recorded a video on, again, on my computer, unfinished. It'll be up on the channel someday. Really good weapon that has really good perks, insanely good perks, in fact. If we just minimize this, go back to Fortnite real quick here. Oh no, I closed it. I'll be right back. You can see the perk options are insane. Affliction, crit rating, double crit damage. You can't really get better perks than a normal weapon. You have all the different elements, really good. It's a solid weapon. It is a pistol, but with totally rocking out active, it might be S tier as far as pistols go. It shoots fast enough, and with the affliction perk and insanely good perks in general, it can crowd clear. It actually functioned as a primary, and I was rather impressed. So yeah, a semi-auto going into S tier. I feel good because I mean that. Plasmatron. This one feels like an SMG. Is this really still a pistol in this game? Okay, great, because this thing never has to reload. It's one of those weapons. You pair it with Crack Shot, and you'll have an excellent time. It's a sci-fi weapon, so it's locked to energy, but it's got the expanding ring 6 perk, the exploding projectiles 6 perk. It's a sci-fi weapon, so it's quite good. And yeah, a little bit of a slow projectile, kind of like a big bubble gun, just shoots bubbles, but it you know, pop, 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 you can hit a whole crowd. You know, shielders and Ride Huskies will shut you down. That's the same for a lot of these weapons, except for the Ghost Pistol, I guess. But yeah, super fun weapon. It pairs really well. Steamroller is a weapon I've heard good things about. In fact, actually, I'm assuming as a steampunk weapon, it has the Steam Cloud 6 perk, and I don't even have a copy leveled up. Goodness. I have some blind spots. I'm not going to lie. Some of the weaker weapons in this game, as a content creator, there are hundreds of weapons in this game. You are kidding me. I don't have a copy of this weapon, or am I being blind right now? Well, all right. That's something I need to look into. Jeez, I don't even have a copy of this weapon. Man, I could imagine the title of that video would be me researching this weapon. Regardless, Steamroller with the Steam Cloud 6 perk, I've heard really good about the 6 perk. I'm trusting the opinion of AS in chat. I think this is probably an A tier weapon. I know the damage is high. I know its single target damage is really good. The Steam Cloud is really good for crowd clearing. This could be S tier, but I'm not going to blindly put anything in S tier. I'll put it in A tier, maybe high A tier, right above the Duelist, where I feel like this weapon is worth some investigation, but yeah, I can't do that right this second. And then Storm King's Onslaught, obviously, S tier. It struggles against, obviously, Shielders and Riot Huskies as usual. Every pistol has that blind spot, but it's a fully auto. It's basically an SMG with aimbot, and the highest base crit chance of any ranged weapon in the game at 25%. With one crit rating perk, you're critting 53% of the time, and it has the perks to take advantage of that. An excellent weapon. Excellent weapon. A lot of people really don't like it. I get it. You know, with shielders, bubbles, and shielders and bubbles, you're not always, you know, sometimes it goes for the enemy, not the shielder that's boosting it. So you don't have as much control over this weapon. So I'm weirdly leaning towards putting it below the Plasmatron because they function very similar, but the Plasmatron gives you a little more to work with. It's a very strong weapon, though. It's a Storm King's weapon. No surprise there. So, yeah. So, Paper Shredder. Oh boy, I've been having my head talked off about this weapon for a while. Archer, obviously a friend of mine of the channel as well, he has been championing this weapon so much. It's basically like the Freedom's Herald, where it shoots and explodes, and it does apparently a lot of damage. That's outside of my scope. I'll put it in low A tier before I can investigate further, but very apparently strong weapon, something you might want to try out. Tiny Instrument of Death, I have tried out. You guide the rocket and it explodes. That is slow firing, hard to take advantage of, super expensive to operate, and not enough damage to justify it. I'm going to put it in high C tier. A lot of people are going to disagree with that. I know that one. In fact, by putting it in high C tier, it's like below the B tier weapons. So maybe because of where I've placed these, I'm forcing myself into mid B tier, but it did not impress. It's just, Yeah. Jiggy Melon says that this is a worse version of Tiny Instrument, you know? This just means that if I want to take pistols seriously in the future, I'm going to have to try out a lot of these. And I don't love recording a tier list where I'm uninformed about 40% of the list, but a lot of these weapons, like I said, consistently prove themselves not worth investigation. Pistols are... Yeah, they are what they are. Now, the Vacuum Tube Revolver has Chain Lightning, which I thought would make it really good, S tier, but I tried it, and it was... honestly, like B tier. It was not enough damage to really justify all the setup. I had to like eat a wafer, aim for the head, boom, 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 like 6 shots, and then the Chain Lightning was good, not great. Unfortunate. For a Chain Lightning weapon, I thought it'd be really good. Being locked to nature doesn't help anything either, so yeah, mid B tier, I suppose. The Vintertech burst weapons, it's just so bad. You're spending energy cells, tons of shots to do minimal damage. I really think the expense of these weapons factors into them being an F tier, but the damage was just not there. It just wasn't there. I could be wrong, but I tried it. It did not impress. Whisper 45 is like the Turncoat, but better. Higher base crit chance, really good perks. It doesn't have the double crit damage, but it has the Affliction, which is just fine. Damage to Afflicted is pretty much as good as a crit perk. Oh, I'm sorry. They both have damage to Afflicted. Oh, I see. It just doesn't have that second crit damage. That's what I was thinking about. Yeah. Mag size is great too, though. Shooting for a longer sustained period. By the way, this is bugged on the left. It's not a 1 second. It's not a 1 second reload, and the mag size should be 16 with a mag size perk. You can mix and match, and double crit damage is actually pretty viable because silenced weapons, so the Whisper 45, Silent Spectre, and the Wraith all have a base 20% crit chance, which is actually quite nice. Extra 10% on the base might not sound like a lot, but It is, and I really, really, really favor this weapon. And for the same reason as the Affliction with a Turncoat, it actually has really good crowd clearing, and it has the damage to back it up. So S tier is quite fair. Zap Zap shoots kind of explosion that does some damage, and it's not a ton, but it's better than you might think. It might be similar to like the Tiny Instrument of Death and the Paper Shredder. I'm not sure where it lies. It's been a long time since I tried that weapon as well. I don't know. Founders Revolt, sorry if you're not a founder and you don't have access to this weapon, but it's an obvious S tier. Maybe closer to up here, because it's semi-auto, shoots really fast, but every single bullet chains to a nearby target, which is really good. It has excellent perks, and yeah, it's a founder's weapon. Fun fact, it is the founder's variant of the Haywire Storm. So it actually has the same, I can't compare it because it's tricky, but I do have a leveled up copy, and you can see that the Founders Revolt, mine is Bright Core. So that's going to make sense in a second why I say these are actually the same. If this was a Sunbeam copy, it is the exact same stats as the Haywire. You can see it's shooting faster fire rate. Sunbeam isn't, so, okay, Bright Core is not 10% faster fire rate than Sunbeam. Sunbeam is 10% less. So if you actually take 10% of 8 off of here, actually, I can prove it. If you do 8 times 0.9, you get the 7.2 that our Sunbeam over here is rocking. So it's basically like, so, okay, I'm trying to say several things at once. First, the Founders Revolt is a Founders version of the Haywire Storm. It's the same weapon with a better 6 perk. And it's a fake legendary. A lot of people probably knew this without being told it, but it's epic because Epic Games, and it actually has the exact same stats of a legendary weapon. So if you are a founder who has always been ignoring their Founders Revolt just because it was purple, surprise, it's actually legendary on paper. So, yeah, that's a thing you should know. Founders Revolt's very good. I hate my copy because it's Bright Core and I'm stuck with it, and Epic won't change it, but it's an excellent weapon, even Bright Core. So there you go. There you go. Last word, super fun weapon. I am biased enough to maybe put it in S tier because it shoots really fast hip fire, really slow and accurate aimed in. 6-shot rounds means it's well paired with Calamity because she boosts it by a ton of damage for 6 shots. And the headshot explosion actually gives it some crowd clearing. I personally played a lot of FPS games in my day and have pretty good accuracy, so I can use this with well effectiveness. But most people can't. So if you're an average player who doesn't have good enough aim to utilize all 6 shots every time, aiming for the head as much as you can, it's probably not going to perform well. But if you can use this weapon properly, it's like the Bald Eagle. Low S tier, I think is fair. It's really, really fun. I'm being biased. I'll admit that. Maybe high A tier, but regardless, it's in the same sort of region, so very good weapon. Primal Pistol, no crowd clearing. What was the 6 perk on this? It was the Frenzy 6 perk, right? Oh, let me undo the compare and go over here. Yeah, extra damage with targets, limiting miss monsters, makes you shoot faster, reload, not reload, yeah, move quicker. It's tough. Really good single target, but it was just nothing against crowds, and the 6 perks didn't really save it. I'll put it in mid A tier. It was all right. Maybe B tier. I don't know. All of these shoot pretty fast. I'll put it in mid A tier. Mid A tier for now, but yeah, definitely a weapon that needs some improvement if I'm going to really give it a good try. But yeah, pretty satisfied with that list. Again, I need to do a lot more research on pistols, apparently. I don't like having so many blind spots, but it's been a long time since I've been impressed by a weapon I was pretty firm on, so maybe I'll give some of these a try, and you guys can stay tuned to some future uploads. Maybe next year I update this tier list. I'll have a lot more to say. But regardless, that's the video. Subscribe if you're new. Leave a like if you liked it. Comment down below what you guys thought. I'm sure plenty of you disagreed, and the comments are there for you. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Bonus extension of the recording. I forgot that I was going to compare to my recent, or my last tier list. So let's see. Plasmatron, Founders Revolt. Okay, Founders Revolt was up a few places in my last review. That can give or take. You know, everything in the S tier is pretty solid. I was a little more harsh on the last word. Okay, and the Vacuum Tube Pistol. So this goes to show a weapon that's good on paper. I think I used this weapon more after I recorded that and recognized that the damage and the chain lightning was not as spicy as it should have been. Okay, I guess I favor the Coco 45 a lot more now. It's interesting how these things can shift because I don't really know what my justification was for A tier. I could listen to my video, but oh, it's too much. Wait, did YouTube auto timestamp this? Yup, I didn't do that. I did not timestamp this. Other weapons. Yeah, thank you, YouTube. Interesting how one person can make 2 completely different lists. 2 years apart. But yeah, that's why I update the list. I'm always trying to post these tier lists with my most updated knowledge, and yeah, that's what you get.